I need to say something today that's going to be uncomfortable, but it might be the most important thing you hear this week. That person you've been blaming, your underperforming service advisor, that disengaged team member, your manufacturer, your GM, your market, they're not the problem. You ran out of skill. And instead of admitting that, you pointed the finger. Now, that's not judgmental. That's what all of us do when we hit the wall. But here's what separates elite leaders from frustrated ones. Elite leaders, they don't reach for blame, they reach for growth. And today, I'm going to show you the most seductive trap in all of leadership, and the one question that gets you out of it every single time. 7 minutes, one truth, one execution move. If you're a leader who's tired of repeating yourself, having the same meetings again and again, tired of agreement without execution, and tired of carrying the weight of everyone else's performance, you're in the right place. I'm Chris Hunsicker, and this is the Dealership War Room. This isn't motivation. This isn't theory. This is a daily leadership briefing for people who actually have to produce results in the arena, at work, and at home. You're in the war room now, so let's get after it. Think about for a minute the last time you were truly frustrated with someone on your team. Not mildly annoyed, I mean deeply frustrated. The kind where you just go home and vent about it to whoever will listen to you. When you replay that conversation over and over in your head, where you say to yourself, if they just do their job, we wouldn't be in this position. They make it so hard. If corporate would just give us what we need, if the market would just cooperate. You remember this? Now, I want you to sit with this for a second. What if that frustration wasn't actually about them? What if it was a signal that you have reached the end of your current skill set? Here's what I mean. When a leader has exhausted every tool that they know how to use, every conversation that they know how to have, and every approach that they've ever been taught, and things still haven't changed, or things still aren't changing enough, the brain in here, it defaults to the easiest available exit: blame. Now here's the tattoo line. When you get to the end of your skill set, you blame. It's not their fault. It's your gap. That's not weakness. That's human wiring. By recognizing it, that's leadership. Now, let me take you deeper, because here's where it really gets dangerous. Most leaders, when they hit this wall, don't know what to do, then they do what sounds like growth. They read a book, they listen to a podcast, they attend a conference, they go out and they gather new language, better framework, sharper insights. And then they use all of it not to build their skill set, but to become a more sophisticated or educated blamer. With that land, they become educated blamers. They don't become better leaders. Now, they have better words for why this is someone else's fault, for why this is someone else's problem. They have more articulate reasons for why the team isn't performing. They can explain it better. They have more polished explanations for why the situation is out of their control. Same blame, better vocabulary. And this is one of the deadliest traps in leadership, because it feels like growth. It sounds like growth, but nothing changes. And here's the dagger line. If everything you're learning is making you a better critic instead of a better leader, you're not growing. You're just arming yourself with excuses. So what's the way out? It starts with one shift. When you feel the pull towards blame, and you will every day because it's seductive, don't fight it. And don't shame yourself for it. Just recognize it for what it is. Blame is a signal that you've reached the edge of your current ability. And in the moment you see it as a signal, right, instead of a verdict, it changes everything. Because now you have a different question to ask. You're not going to ask yourself, why don't they change? And you're not going to ask yourself, what's wrong with them? And you're not going to ask yourself, why does this keep happening to me? Instead, where do I need to grow so that I can make this situation better? Maybe it's patience. Maybe it's emotional intelligence. Maybe it's having difficult conversations sooner. And maybe it's learning how to coach instead of correct. It might just be building the stamina to stay consistent when nothing seems to be working. You can't be broken. Whatever it is, that question turns every frustration into curriculum. And that's why the virtuous cycle starts. More skills lead to more resilience. More resilience lets you build more skill faster. And blaming, it just stops making sense because it's not necessary. You don't need the easy way anymore. So here's today's execution move. And I call this the blame flip. The next time you feel the pull to blame someone, stop and ask yourself one question. Where do I need to strengthen my skill set to make this situation better? And write it down. Not the blame, the skill gap. Because here's the truth. Almost all elite leaders believe this in their heart. The person across from you is never the enemy. Disconnection is. And blame is the fastest path to disconnection that there is. So come back to my one question. Where do I need to grow? It turns walls into bridges every single time. This concept, replacing blame with growth, is one of the most powerful ideas in my entire book, Unstoppable You, because the book is not about being just more a positive person and smiling more. It's about becoming a more skilled person. And if this one is resonating with you, I invite you to go to chrishunsicker.com. Download a free chapter of my book, Unstoppable You. It'll show you specifically how to turn every frustration into a growth opportunity and stop that blame cycle before it costs you the best people in your life, personally and professionally. And if you're leading someone else who's stuck in the blame route, pointing fingers, making excuses, convinced it's everyone else, please send them this episode, not as a call out, as an invitation. Because elite leaders don't blame better, they grow faster. And every time they hit a wall, they don't look for someone else to point at. They look for something to build in themselves. That's the kind of leader you're becoming by being in the war room, by listening to these every day, by spending the time. So go out today in your home life, in your personal life, create some leadership fire, and I'll see you tomorrow in the Dealership War Room.